Hi, this is Valerie Moore, Chair of the Richland County Democratic Party, and I have the pleasure of talking with Andrea Fripp, who is a Blythewood Town Council person this morning, and I'm thrilled. Thank you for being here to talk about what's happening in the world of Blythewood.
Well, thank you for having me.
A very growing community, and
it is.
Tell me a little bit about what you have been seeing as a new council person.
So, right now with Blythewood, it seems everything is Scout Motors. That's the big thing that's happening in Blythewood. So we've got a lot of expansion, a lot of new people coming in, a lot of new business that we're looking to have. And of course, with that, it brings its own level of issues related to traffic, which is something that we already had an issue with prior to Scout. Now that Scout is coming, there is a lot more traffic. And we've had some recent developments that involve some security and safety issues in the town of Blythewood as well.
I'm sure those are being addressed by the council and the local authorities.
We are doing our best. We are certainly working closely with the Richland County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Lott to see what we can do to maximize our security and those that are on patrol and things like that in Blythewood. So yeah, it's a team effort.
I'm sure traffic is a perennial problem for any area that is experiencing growth, and especially with a great new business, Scout Motors, that's going to employ a lot of people who are on the roads, but hopefully that's a short-term
Yeah, that's what we tend to tell people. Just bear with us, give us a little time, and we're going to get past this. So yeah, people so far, they're not happy with it, but they do understand that this is just the process that we need to go through in order to get to the end of the project.
Yeah, well, it's exciting to be, I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure. Is it exciting to be? You are new. This is your first term councilwoman, and you have understand you have a background in finance, which is a very different world in some ways. But how has that informed your work on the council?
I think it helps me. Not just finance, government finance is my background, and that helps me in terms of budget time. It allows me to be able to look at the town as a whole and to see what it is we need to be focused on, what monies need to be allocated where. And so, the whole council has their own unique skill sets that they bring, but mine being government finance. Again, it just allows me to budget probably more effectively and just look at the financial health of the town overall.
Well, that's great. Your experience is very helpful, I'm sure. So has anything surprised you about seeing behind the scenes from the other side of the desk, I guess?
A lot. Prior to running, I was just like everyone else, a resident or citizen in town, and you see what you read, you hear different things, and so you form your opinions based on that. But it's not until you actually get behind the curtain and you're allowed to see what's really going on that you can better understand just what's actually happening. So I try to tell people, sometimes it's a lot different than what you get in the media. You have to get behind, pull the curtain back, or peel the onion, or whatever that saying is, and then you really kind of see what's going on. And it's not always pretty.
Well, so tell me what your focus is right now with the council.
So the council's focus right now is a referendum to change the form of government in Blythewood. Currently, we operate under what's called a mayor-council form of government, or strong mayor, and we are gonna put the vote out to the citizens to see if they'd like to change that form of government to a council manager form of government.
When will that vote take place?
So we don't have the exact date, but we're actually looking at August actually this upcoming Tuesday, we will have the second reading. And once that passes, if it does, then we can get with the election commission to actually set a date for the special election.
Great. So can you speak a little bit about the difference between what we call a strong mayor or a mayor council government? Can you just, for the average person, break that down for us?
Yes, and let me just say that I support a council manager form of government. And really what it does, I believe, is just makes governing more equitable. There are some misconceptions that the mayor will not be the mayor, or we're somehow trying to remove the mayor, but that is not the case. The mayor will be the mayor whether this passes or fails. But under a council manager form of government, what it does, it allows the council to hire, which we actually already have, but allows council to hire an administrator in our case, or a manager for a lot of other municipalities. And that manager actually handles the day-to-day operations. That manager is someone who is qualified, experienced, credentialed in running operations in municipalities. And so then it allows the mayor to actually get out and do the things that you would expect mayors to do. And I think that what it does is it kind of takes and I don't want to use this, but I heard someone mention it, kind of takes the king mentality out of governing, and it just makes it more of a team effort, because now all 5 of the elected officials in Blythewood have an opportunity to govern. And it just makes it more fair, more equitable.
Yeah. This sounds a little bit like other things going on in our politics these days.
It does. Some things that we want to avoid.
Well, and I understand, too, that there are municipalities throughout South Carolina, and I'm sure the rest of the country, that use this council manager form of government. Can you speak to that, where you've seen that? I'm sure you've done a lot of research on this to make sure that it is effective, but where is it, and what are some examples of how it has benefited a community?
Sure. I think very close to home, I'd use Richland County first, the county that Blythewood sits in. Richland County operates under what's called a council administrator. Richland County does not have a mayor per se, but they do have an administrator that is accountable to the members of council. And if at any time that administrator is not performing effectively, then that council has the authority to replace that administrator. The city of Columbia is a prime example. Of course, everybody knows the mayor of Columbia, and we have a great city manager, and she operates the day-to-day. She runs, I should say, the day-to-day operations, and the mayor gets to be out there executing his plans and his visions for the city of Columbia. And it really takes that responsibility off of him. Other cities in the state, there are many, but you can look at Greenville, you can look at Spartanburg, you certainly can look at Greer, who was once a sleepy town, kind of like Blythewood, and then here comes BMW. Well, Greer has grown and expanded over the last 20 years, and they operate under a council manager form of government. Somerville, kind of close to where I'm from, they have Volvo, and Somerville, they operate under a council manager form of government. But very close to Blythewood, you can look at Ridgeway, you can look at Winsboro. They all operate very successfully under a council manager form of government.
Andrea, is the strong mayor form of government a holdover from the past? How has that worked in other areas, and why the change?
So, yes, with strong mayors, typically when a town is being formed or created, whatever you want to say, a lot of times strong mayors are necessary, because when you're just starting, there typically is only the mayor and a clerk. So you would need for that mayor to be a strong mayor. But as you grow, as cities get larger, cities and towns get larger, then the council is more involved. And again, I feel as though a council manager form of government just makes things more equitable because all of the elected officials now have almost an equal voice.
Interesting. So it doesn't take power away from the mayor, but it spreads the responsibility for making decisions about.
Well, some would say
things.
yes, it does take power away because there's not that single point of failure. Now you have a licensed, credentialed, experienced manager, or in our case, an administrator actually running the day-to-day operation. The mayor is still the CEO of the council. However, he or she just would not be running day-to-day operations. We are 5 part-time elected officials. And it's kind of hard to have a part-time elected official running full-time day-to-day operations.
It's a very good point. So there's never enough time, and so it does.
Never enough time.
Spread the responsibilities of running the government. Yeah, good. Well, have you had? Let me think about this. Say this correctly. Do we have other municipalities in South Carolina or beyond? I'm sure you've researched a lot of this that have had successful council mayor forms of government.
Council manager forms of government. That's okay. That's okay. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I think, one we can look at very close to home is Richland County, the county that Blythewood sits in. Richland County operates under what is called a council administrator form of government. The city of Columbia operates under a council manager form of government. Most people are, of course, familiar with Mayor Rickman and Teresa Wilson, who is the city manager. So she runs the day-to-day operations, and it allows him as mayor to get out there and grow the city, execute his plans and visions for the city of Columbia, and she handles the day-to-day operations. And that manager is accountable to the council, which includes the mayor. If ever there's a time that the manager is not performing, then the council has the ability to replace or remove that manager. And so that's what I would like to see Blythewood go to.
That's great. I think accountability is in the news right now with government and governance, and I think that's actually a really good point to bring up. That it's not necessarily top down; it's shared responsibility, and you can get a lot more done in theory. But that's my guess. I am not the expert in this. You are, but I think that's what I'm hearing you say.
I believe that when you work as a team, when good governing to me is when we all get a voice. We all get to actually use our skill sets and our expertise, and we can make decisions, collectively versus just one person. That just always makes more sense.
Right. Good. Well, thank you for explaining that and for your work on the council.
You're welcome.
I have had a lot of people expressing interest in running for office, and so I would say, now that you've seen how the sausage is made, so to speak, or the skullduggery, love it, had to fit that in. What advice do you have for somebody who's interested in running for office?
So first, let me explain skullduggery. Skullduggery is the equivalent of Joe Biden's malarkey. So skullduggery is a word that I use often. But to your question about what I would say to someone wanting to run for office, the first thing is you need thick skin. You really and truthfully do. But more importantly, you need to know your why. Why are you doing this? Hopefully it's for the right reasons. But once you figure that out, then I think that why motivates you to keep going, because behind the scenes, it's very challenging. And there are days that you want to give up, whether it's on the campaign trail or once you've been elected. You want to say, listen, I'm going home. I'm done with this. But that why is what continues to motivate you to keep going. And really your why should be, for the people, about the people, because that's really what's important.
Good, good. That's great, great advice, and I really so appreciate your service.
Thank you for yours.
Because I know you have a full slate of things on your plate, and you chose to do this, and you've done this well and served your community. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate all that you do for the party.
I'm happy to do it. It helps me sleep at night.
Because you're exhausted, right?
as Michelle Obama said, is to do something, and I think it's what I can do with what I've been talents and blessings I've been given. So I'm happy to do that, and I just want to say thank you again. We're going to call that a wrap. I really appreciate Andrea Fripp from Blythewood Town Council and your service.
Thank you, Valerie.
You're welcome.